today's increasingly competitive global marketplace, smart organizations have to find ways to keep their edge over the competition while improving their profits. Around the world, businesses have learned that being able to produce a product or service that consistently meets customer requirements and enhances customer satisfaction will give them that edge and have a positive impact on their bottom line. As with everything else involved with business success, achieving consistency and reliability with regard to the quality of products and/or services produced by your organization requires that you and every other employee be committed to the same goals. Your organization has adopted the ISO 9001 Quality Management System standard to achieve the consistency and reliability needed for the continual improvement of your quality system. This video will give you a basic understanding of ISO 9001, the Quality Management System Requirements Standard. It will include what is ISO 9001, what are its requirements, why documentation and auditing are important, why it's good for your organization, how you're involved, and what should you do next.
A quality management system is a series of policies and procedures that ensures that the product we deliver to the customer and the service we provide is of a consistent quality and a very high quality.
In this section, we'll define the important terms used in this program: quality, quality management system, continual improvement, registration, and registrar.
Quality. Because the definition of quality can vary, it's best to consider quality in terms of meeting customers' requirements. Quality is the ability to consistently produce a product or service that satisfies customer specifications and expectations.
We send out good quality products. We delight our customer. When they're happy, we're happy. And that's what we want to do, is to delight our customer.
A quality management system, or QMS, is a set of interrelated processes developed, used, and monitored to help an organization achieve and maintain a consistent level of quality. Continual improvement is the process of making changes that increases your ability to effectively meet customer needs. Changes to the way your organization manages its QMS. Changes that make for ongoing improvements in your overall quality performance. And changes that are in line with your organization's quality policy. Registration is the result of an independent audit by third-party auditors, paid for by your organization, to verify that your system meets the requirements of the ISO 9001 standard. The auditors work for a company called a registrar, and they validate your organization's compliance. Your organization is thus registered and subject to periodic surveillance audits to ensure continued compliance. The registrar then advises the business community of your conformance on a publicly available list or registry.
In this section, we'll discuss ISO 9001 and explain what it is and how it works.
ISO 9001 has changed our approach to quality in that we're being far more disciplined about our written procedures and method sheets and the training that everybody has to receive so that they're familiar with those and using those method sheets and that they're maintained properly afterwards as well. So I think while we had a lot of the philosophies and policies in place, we're now much more rigorous in having them documented and people trained in how to use them.
What is ISO 9001? ISO 9001 is one of a series of standards from the International Organization of Standardization that pertain to the management of quality systems. It is the process-based requirement standard, and like other standards in the series, it is not specific to any industry. It can be applied to both manufacturing and service organizations, to many diverse industries. ISO 9001 establishes the generic requirements for an effective quality system, and once an organization adopts the standard and their adherence validated, their customers can have greater confidence in the level of quality being generated by an organization's products and services. Validation is achieved by registering an organization's quality management system using an independent external auditor, a registrar, to verify an organization's compliance with ISO 9001 requirements. In addition to achieving operational consistency, once registered, an organization will find that customers look for the reassurance ISO 9001 registration gives them in selecting a supplier. More than 1 million organizations worldwide are now registered to ISO 9001. Related standards include ISO 9000 and ISO 9004.
It's a business system. It's sound business practices that have to be implemented. And when we talk about quality, quality's your job, quality's my job, quality's all of our jobs. And we must integrate that quality into the way we do business because we always want to do a quality job.
In this section of our program, we'll look at the requirements of ISO 9001.
ISO 9001 contains 5 sections that spell out the requirements of a quality management system. Your organization's quality processes must satisfy these requirements in order to produce products and/or services that consistently and effectively strengthen customer satisfaction. The requirements of ISO 9001 deal with general things like ensuring the quality management system is suitable to your organization, and specific things like making sure that employees are competent to do their jobs and that product designs meet functional and performance requirements. ISO 9001 was developed using a process approach model, which means that most processes within your organization's QMS are interconnected. Basically, ISO 9001 requirements reflect good business practices. It's not something you do above and beyond your regular work. It's the way that you work, the way that you do business.
I think the primary benefits of 9001 to the company are to focus everybody on a common objective. And whereas some total quality programs can be quite widespread and you're trying to address all different aspects of the company's quality system, ISO 9001 is a fairly prescribed system. It's very clear what you have to do, and you also have an external element to it, so it's much easier to get the company focused and to say what needs to be done and why.
ISO 9001 is flexible. It allows an organization to develop a system that is right for its particular needs and the needs of its customers. However, there are several elements that are critical to an effective quality management system. They are the establishment of quality objectives that are consistent with your quality policy, the responsibilities of top management and all employees to achieving customer satisfaction and continual improvement of the system's effectiveness, the documentation of processes involved, and the organization's commitment to maintaining processes in order to achieve quality objectives.
In this section, you'll learn about why documentation is important, the 4 levels of documentation, and the importance of audits.
The ISO program helps to improve procedures because you have to write them down for a start. When you write them down, you're going to look at them and see if they're really what you want and if they're the best procedures. So in combination with writing them down, you can examine them and try and improve them.
Although ISO 9001 has only limited requirements to document specific procedures, most organizations make use of documentation to establish, use, monitor, and maintain their quality management system. From defining a quality policy to recording the details of procedures and work instructions, documentation is a key element of an effective ISO 9001 conforming system. And documentation doesn't mean paragraphs of tedious text and endless forms to fill out. Documentation can be as alive and interesting as you want to make it. Photographs, flowcharts, diagrams, and electronic forms are all valid types of documentation.
You certainly don't have to document everything, just the critical procedures that are going to affect the quality of the product that you're delivering, and that you deliver it so that it meets specifications and it's delivered on time, and also that those specifications, once met, are going to achieve what the customer wants in terms of customer satisfaction.
There are typically 4 levels of documentation: a quality manual that defines the scope of the QMS and outlines the quality policy and objectives, what the organization wants to achieve. Think of it as a roadmap for your organization. Procedures that detail how your organization will plan, operate, and control its processes to satisfy the quality policy and meet objectives. Work instructions that explain how a job or task is completed. You may already be familiar with these documents. Technical data and records. Technical data are supporting documents such as applicable standards, computer operating manuals, and detailed product specifications, while records are documentation that proves that your organization's processes conform to ISO 9001.
The documentation is used in the auditing process to benchmark the way the job is being done against the way it's documented to be done.
Internal audits are an integral part of an ISO 9001-based quality system. The purpose of an internal audit is to make sure that the system is operating as planned. As the name implies, an organization's employees do the internal audit, although they must be independent of the activity they audit. This means that you may be trained as an internal auditor so that you can review the activities and procedures in another part of your organization.
In this section of our program, we'll look at some of the benefits of ISO 9001.
By implementing ISO 9001, your organization's customers are assured of consistent quality, and this means they will have confidence in what your organization produces. Customer confidence gives your organization an edge over your competition, thereby increasing sales and boosting profits.
It benefits the company through getting our quality under better control. What that will lead to is better yields in the factory, less scrap, better on-time deliveries, ultimately better service to the customer. It should also lead to a more efficient new product development process and a faster product development process so that we get these products to market quicker. So at the end of the day, we'll be a better company and more profitable and with better prospects in the marketplace.
In addition, compliance will also mean significant internal benefits for your organization. ISO 9001 puts into place a system that maintains and seeks to improve the quality of output. This results in less waste and rework, greater efficiency, and improved productivity. All this ultimately adds up to making your organization more successful and more aggressive in its growth. Adopting an ISO 9001-based quality system strengthens your organization's ability to succeed in today's highly competitive marketplace.
In this section, we'll talk about what you can expect from ISO 9001, how your job will be affected, and the benefits you'll receive.
While an ISO 9001-based quality system may seem rather complicated, it essentially comes down to being able to answer questions like these. Who does what? What do you do? How do you do it? How do you know it's working? How is it improved? How are errors prevented? All processes and procedures that affect quality need to be defined or formalized as part of the QMS. What does this mean to you? Here are some of the ways that you'll impact your organization's quality management system. You will help document processes, improve processes by suggesting changes, communicate customer perceptions of your organization and its product services if you interact with the customer, standardize processes across shifts, clarify roles and responsibilities, share effective practices across the organization, identify training and other actions needed to ensure employees are able to do their jobs accurately, effectively, and as efficiently as possible. When you work toward improving your quality management system, you'll learn new and valuable skills while helping to build a strong organization, one that provides opportunities, benefits, and security to you.
You're absolutely vital because you're the person doing the work. And nobody knows better than you do how it should be done. So without your help to create these processes and document them, we won't get them right, first of all. And secondly, they won't be usable afterwards.
How much of your attention will ISO 9001 demand? Once the system is up and running, it will become the way you operate on a day-to-day basis. It won't add any additional effort, and it will reduce work over the long term by helping to eliminate problems before they even begin.
Say what you do. In other words, put it on a piece of paper or write it down so it's clearly communicable to everybody concerned. And then do what you say on that sheet of paper, and then you have to verify, basically, some sort of record that you're actually effective in doing what you're doing.
In this section of our program, we'll suggest how you can help assure the success of your ISO 9001-based quality system.
If there's a problem, I can spot it, and people will listen. If I see a trend towards something, people will listen. If there's something I feel should be changed, they listen. We're the people who work with it, and they have some faith in us and our judgments.
Now that you have a better understanding of ISO 9001 and why it's important to you and your organization, what do you do now?
Here are some things you can do to help. Be knowledgeable regarding your organization's quality objectives. Be alert for ways that you can contribute to your organization's efforts to achieve those goals. Recommend changes to work instructions and processes in your area that will help improve the QMS. Take pride in your organization's actions to become quality leaders in their industry. Ask your supervisor how you can make a difference.
An ISO 9001-based quality management system can have great benefits for your organization and your customers, but it won't work without your commitment and participation. You play an important role in this effort. With your commitment, everyone benefits: your customers, your organization, and you.
I would have to say, don't be afraid of it because it's not going to hurt you. It can only improve your product.
An ISO 9001-based quality system makes sound business sense. Each of you can make a difference in this process. Thank you for your attention. The requirements specified in ISO 9001 are contained in sections 4 through 8. While we discussed them in general terms earlier in this video, here is a more detailed explanation of the concepts generally relevant to you and your coworkers. Subclauses having more limited applicability are not discussed. So here is our quick focus on the main impact the more relevant subclauses will have on your organization.
Section 4. Quality Management System. The first section of the standard includes a clause on documentation that relates to how the organization defines the activities needed to satisfy customer requirements. The organization's governing document is the Quality Manual. It includes statements defining the organization's quality policy, a commitment to meeting the customer requirements, and an overview of how the organization will meet those requirements. Organizations use many different kinds of documents to define requirements and to provide information on how work is to be carried out. Documents may include procedures, work instructions, specifications, drawings, production traveler, process maps, and statutory regulations, to name a few. Each employee is responsible for knowing what documents apply to their jobs and where those documents are located. Additionally, some employees are responsible for revising documents when things change and for making sure everyone gets notified when the document is updated. Records are a special type of document that provides evidence that something has been done. That is, they prove that requirements have been fulfilled. They are useful for investigating problems, studying trends, and assessing the effectiveness and efficiency of the organization. Section 5. Management Responsibility. The Management Responsibility section establishes how management is involved with ensuring a strong quality system. Members of top management are responsible for ensuring that the organization is focused on customer satisfaction. They do this by developing the organization's quality policy, quality objectives, and defining responsibility and authority for various functions in the organization. They also have to ensure that policy and objectives are communicated so everyone understands them. In addition, top management periodically reviews records of what's happening in the organization. They look at information relating to things like customer complaints, defects, analysis of scrap rates, and other key performance indicators, preventative measures, supplier issues, problem solving, new product design, and improvement initiatives. These reviews provide them with the information they need for decision making and for allocating adequate resources to ensure the quality system works. Section 6. Resource Management. The clause on human resources stipulates the importance of ensuring that people performing various tasks have the necessary competence and qualification. The organization is required to identify training needs and to make sure the training is provided, when needed, to those individuals who are performing work that can affect the quality of products and services. The clause on infrastructure and work environment requires that an adequate workplace be provided. The right equipment and appropriate work conditions have a large impact on people's ability to do their jobs correctly and efficiently. In some cases, it also helps to ensure that product is protected from damage or degradation. For some industries, this might mean having a clean room environment or temperature-controlled storage areas. Section 7. Product Realization. Understanding the customer's requirements is essential. Without controlled processes, it's difficult to ensure that we fully understand what the customer wants or expects. Once the customer's requirements have been established, individuals in the organization involved in planning, scheduling, and purchasing assist in checking to make sure the customer's needs can be met. Sometimes it's necessary to have ongoing dialogue with the customer or to modify requirements to fit available resources, technical abilities, or deliveries. To facilitate these discussions and negotiations, it's important to have well-established methods of communication supported by the necessary technology. There are many steps that go into a well-implemented design process. Some of these relate directly to the need to understand customer requirements, as we've already mentioned. As design progresses, it's important to ensure that specifications are clearly understood and that, throughout the design process, there is good communication with individuals in other departments who may be involved in manufacturing the product or in other activities like purchasing, inspection, or shipping. Before a new or redesigned product is sent to the customer, it is important to verify that it meets the design specification and that it will work as intended for the customer, a design process called validation. Without a reliable supply chain, it's impossible to meet customers' requirements consistently over time. In order to ensure that an organization has the necessary raw materials, components, software, and services, it's necessary to have processes in place to qualify and select suppliers. They are often identified as an approved supplier list. Purchase orders must clearly communicate requirements to ensure suppliers provide the correct materials and services. This helps receiving personnel to determine if materials coming in match what the organization ordered. This, in turn, helps to eliminate problems that can lead to defects and late deliveries. Whether an organization is manufacturing a product or providing a service, it's important to perform activities consistently and in accordance with documented procedures. As mentioned earlier, these might include work instructions, procedures, charts, and visual aids. Material and finished goods need to be suitably identified. In some cases, it's also important to have a lot traceability or serial numbers. For software products, identification will include information about the version that is being provided. If the organization uses materials that the customer provides, it needs to ensure that the materials don't get lost or damaged. Raw materials and finished goods need to be handled, stored, and packaged to prevent damage. This might include storing in controlled environments, monitoring shelf life, or using special containers. Organizations use many different kinds of instruments and devices to check parts and monitor processes. These may include micrometers, gauges, color samples, comparators, tape measures, test software, and simple jigs. It's important for these devices to provide consistently reliable readouts. Many of these devices are calibrated. Others are checked through other methods. In all cases, good records are needed to prove that the tools used for activities like inspection are capable of providing reliable measurement information. Section 8. Measurement, Analysis, and Improvement. Over time, the organization must implement different processes to gather information on how it's doing. Assessing customer satisfaction is probably the most important feature to monitor. Additionally, internal audits are conducted periodically. These are intended to recognize good practices, identify potential risks, and to find actual problems so they can be addressed. Finally, organizations gather data by inspecting and measuring products to make sure they meet requirements and to prevent shipping bad product. Making sure that defective products do not reach the customer is one of the best ways of ensuring customer satisfaction. Good practices need to be consistently implemented to make sure that non-conforming materials are identified and correctly dispositioned by scrapping, reworking, regrading, or returning to the vendor. The information gathered relating to products and processes needs to be analyzed to help the organization make decisions that help it improve how it does business. As information is analyzed, the organization has the opportunity to identify areas for improvement. These can relate to products, processes, or the entire quality management system. Other improvements come through corrective actions, where the cause of a problem is investigated and a plan of action is implemented to ensure the problem doesn't reoccur. Other improvements come from preventative actions that are designed to address potential issues so that problems never occur.
This concludes our expanded discussion on ISO 9001 requirements. An ISO 9001-based quality system makes sound business sense. Each of you can make a difference in this process. Thank you for your attention.